According to this profit and loss question, it says that a trader bought, so that is a trader, right? So a trader bought a radio set at a cost of that should be a pound, so 68.00 pounds, right? So now this is a trick. What I normally do here is that I have to involve in the question. So what I mean by that, this guy here can replace that by me, right? So maybe let's say you watching me right now, you bought a radio set of what at a cost of 68 pounds, right? That's very easy to understand. Now, and then later on you sold it for a profit of 7.112, right? So that's 7.5. So that you sold it on a profit of you need to analyze each sentence before you can easily solve the questions on the profit and loss. So you sold it out as well. So this is a selling cost. Let's say sold it out. Don't worry, I'll write everything perfectly for you to see how best you can answer any questions related to profit and loss. Now you sold it out at the profit of 7.5%. Is that okay? Now what will happen? So here's the key. You bought a thing out what 68 pounds, right? So then you sold it out what 7.5%. So what it means that you are selling it at a little bit higher than the price that you bought it. Is that okay? So now the question here is that how much did you sell this thing out? So this is going to be your selling price. That is what we call the selling price, right? So the selling price of this radio, right? So how much did you sell this thing out? That is the question. So this one is going to be our cost price. So this is the cost of the radio. So that was going to be the cost price. This is what you paid for. So you paid for it, becomes the cost price of the radio, and then the selling price is what you have to determine. Here we are not giving. Now if this is the cost price, now the assumption here is that this is clearly what equal to if you have a 68 pounds, right? So 68 pounds, that is exactly equal to 100%. That is the cost price, right? So the cost price is exactly 100% at the market. Is that okay? Now the selling price is what we are determining, which we don't know yet, right? So bringing that a question mark here. So what will be the percentage of the selling price? So since this is what a 68%, what it means here is that you are selling this thing at a little bit higher than what you bought it. Other than that, you are going to run at worse, right? But here the question says that you sold it out at what? A profit. So meaning that the price that you sold it out. Now the percentage of the selling price there must be a little bit higher than what the cost of the price, right? So this is being an additional of 7.5%. So what it means here that you have to add a 7.5 to what 100 to determine the percentage of the selling price, the amount that you sold it out. So that's going to just that's plus what 100. So here we are going to have 107 and then 0.5%. Is that okay? So now we don't know the actual price of the distance. So here you have to determine the selling price of the radio, right? So how do you determine the selling price of this radio here? Now you need to know how to solve this calculation. So if you can easily replace here by a variable. So the common variables we normally use here, that's good, just x, right? So x here. Now how do you solve this thing? This is something we all know how to solve. If you don't know how to solve, let's hear from you in the comment section here, right? So what it means here is that we are going to multiply this thing by this and then that by that. So here we have that's going to be 100x. That is here we have that is what 68 multiplied by 107 and then 0.5, right? So we are looking for the x, so we divide here by 100 and then divide here by 100, right? So yeah, that, and then you have your x to be equal to what do you think? So according to my calculation, that should be a pounds, right? So a pounds of 73.1. So if you're having anything different from this value, let me hear from you in the comment section, right? So let's hear from you. So this is going to be our selling price. So this is the amount that you sold it out. So you can see the difference between the two. That if this is 73.1, then you bought the radio for 68 pounds here, for sure you are making some profit. So the difference is very high. So 1 and then this minus 68, right? So you can easily determine the profit that you made on this radio. Is that okay? All right, so what do you think was the profits on the radio? So let me hear from you in the comment section below, the profit on the radio. Now the second part of the question says that the cost of the same radio in the next, maybe the following week, right? So in the following week here, so let's say that is the next week, right? So let's say in the next week the cost of this thing will increase or has increased. So let's maintain the following, right? Is that okay? So in the following week, we know that in the following week here, so the cost of the radio, that same radio has increased to 8%, right? So we know that initially it was 68.00 pounds, right? So but now we know that the price of the listing is going to increase by 8%. Now the question here says was by what percentage are you going to increase your selling price? We know that the selling price, you sold it at 73.1 pounds, right? So this is the amount that you sold it at. Is that okay? Now by what percent are you going to increase your selling price here in order to make that same profit? What was the profit that you made? So you made a profit of I wish I can have it here so that you have your profit. So according to my calculation, I had a profit to be equal to 5.1. So if you're having something different from this, don't worry, right? So math is all about mistakes. So try and make some more mistake and then you correct yourself. So this is the profit. Now the question is in by what percentage can we increase our selling price in order to make that same profit here? Right, that is what we are calculating now. So what are you going to do here is what? So yeah, now what we are going to do is you need to determine the new cost price, right? So the new cost price, that is after increasing it by 8%. So that is going to be we need to add the 8% to this. So whichever way you want to do that, that is very, but we know at the beginning that 68 here, that is equal to 100. Yeah, so 68 here, that is equivalent to 100%, right? So the increase has been what? 8%. So you have to add the 8% to this in order to have the new cost price. So that is going to be 108%, right? So finding the 108% of this one is exactly equal to 108 divided by 100, right? So then multiply by what? 60 is going to be your new selling price. That should be your new cost price rather, right? So new cost, so I had 7 points, that should be 73.44. Is that okay? So that should be 73.44. What matters here is that you have to have a clear understanding of what is happening. That is the most important thing. Okay, so now since this is going to be our new cost, then we can easily proceed from this point by saying that now this is the new price that we are buying the radio set, right? So the new price, so we want to make the same profit at the end of the day. So by what percentage are you going to increase that in order to maintain the 5.1 pounds as a profit? Now we need to figure out how much we are going to sell this thing in order to maintain this 5.1% as the profit. So our new selling price here is just going to be, right? So we just need our profit to be constant like this. So that's going to be the 73.44 plus our profit. This is the amount that we can sell it out, right? So this is the amount that we can sell it out. So I was 78.54 pounds, right? So this is going to be a pound. So don't forget the symbol here. It's very, very important because we don't know the currency in which we are dealing with. So this is the amount that you have to set a new set of radio in order to make our profit of 5.1 pounds here. Now the real question says that what will be the percentage? How much are you going to, by which percentage are you going to increase this price here in order to maintain the selling price of 5.1? That is what we have to figure out now. So the only thing you need here is to find the increase, right? So this is what you have to use here. So the increase divided by the actual price here, and then you use that to multiply by what 100, right? So that is how you can find the percentage increase in the new price. Now to find the increase is very simple. We know that initially the cost of the radio was 73.1. That is the initially before. This is what the radio set cost, and then finally it changes to what that is what it changes to 78.54, right? So the difference between the two will determine our increase. That's going to be 78.54, right? So this is what we saw this thing at the beginning. So that was the selling price. So this is just the new selling price, right? So this is a new selling price. So the difference between the two is going to determine the increase at this point. Is that okay? So find the difference between these two people, have that down. So the key one thing here you have to also master is the actual price, right? So the actual price, is that okay? So which one is the actual price now? So the actual price is going to be 73.1. so that is the first price of all the radio set. That is the actual price. So once you find the difference between these two, replace that by the increase here, and then have that divided by the actual price, which is 73.1, and then multiply everything by 100 to have what the percentage increase.